Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative podcast. This is the podcast where we have digital discussions from the worlds of sports, social media, pop culture. The NHL Draft is going to be upon us in June, and we'd like to feature players that are going to have the chance to get their name called and get one step closer to their dream as being a professional hockey player in the NHL. So I'm pleased to be joined by defenseman for the Mississauga Steelheads in the OHL. I'm with Nic Hague. Nic, welcome to Popternative.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No problem. So I know it's going to be kind of a little bit of a loaded question, but it was just a big year for you and the Steelheads. Talk a little bit about some of the highlights of your year and how it's going to help you for the future and for the the draft and the combine coming up.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we had overall a really good year in Mississauga. A lot of ups and downs for sure. I mean, around start of December and going into Christmas, we were one of the last teams, last place in the whole OHL. So we definitely faced our adversity, but credit to our team and credit to how we bounced back. I thought we really had the character in the room to not just fold in and quit, but just keep pushing forward. And I think after Christmas, our record was we only lost like 6 games maybe after Christmas, going into the second half and into the playoffs, and then obviously. A real long playoff run for us. And I know not the outcome that we wanted, but I know all the boys in the room were pretty proud of what we did. So yeah, it was a pretty fun year overall. And definitely I think we're going to have a lot of guys returning next year, and it's going to be more of the same next year. So
absolutely. And a lot of players, Ryan and Michael McLeod, Nathan Bastian, Vili Sayarvi, but also players like yourself and Owen Tippett, who are eligible for this upcoming NHL draft. Do you find that playing with guys that have been drafted pretty high up, like McLeod, has allowed you guys, you and like Owen, for example, to kind of get a taste of what's to come and, get advice from them about how their draft experience went? Did that help as well?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, those are guys who last year, I was around every day when they were going through their draft year. And I think that it only helped me, and I know it helped Owen too. And kind of just going through it, we knew what to expect. And talking to them, you kind of just get a feel for what it's like going through it in a kind of player's perspective. And I mean, them coming back this year, we had like 5 or 6 guys who are drafted, signed into the NHL, and I think it just it helps. I mean, those obviously great players, and they make players around them better. So I mean, every time you get out there with Mikey or Waddy or all those good players, it's it really helps me and it helps our team. If they make our team better, they if they're at their best, it makes everyone around them better too.
Mm-hmm. There's going to be a lot of scouting reports out there, but I'm giving you the chance right now. A lot of people are going to talk about the fact that you're a big defenseman. You use your body, use your size. You can chip into the offensive zone. But how does Nic Hague describe his style of play? And how would you, sell yourself to an NHL team that would want to sign you and have you on their roster in the near future?
Yeah, I think for me, it's obviously my size is a big part of my game. I really try to use it to my advantage because it's I'm gifted with long reach and being 6'5". But I think for me, I think number one priority of my game is taking care of the D zone. A good stick, kind of good first pass out of there, and defend my own net, make it really hard for opposing forwards to play against. But I think for me also, it's I love jumping in the rush, kind of second layer of attack, and kind of being on the other side of the puck and contributing at both ends of the ice. I definitely don't shy away from an offensive game. So I think obviously I want to take care of my own end first. I'm a defenseman, so that's my main priority. But I think jumping in the second layer, kind of creating that kind of different option on the attack is something I love to do.
We're seeing a lot of smaller guys, especially up front, having a lot of success in the National Hockey League. But I don't ever think that a big mobile defenseman like yourself, or guys you see in the NHL right now, like Tyler Myers for Winnipeg, I don't think that's ever going to go away as like we must have, because you always want a big body defending the blue line.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I look at guys like Tyler Myers. There's Colton Parayko, who plays for St. Louis, and a bunch of big defensemen who are take care of stuff in their own end. They're really relied on in the D zone and as that shutdown role. But at the same time, you watch Colton Parayko. He had, I think, 2 goals in the World Championship the other night. So I mean, he's obviously a big shot, and he can pitch it at both ends as well. And I think that's what I see myself being at the next level.
Mm-hmm. And a player like Parayko, who was a little under the radar before joining the St. Louis Blues. I definitely, I knew who he was. A lot of people knew who he was, but there was a lot of people that weren't really aware of who Colton Parayko was, and he was just a player that came in and made an impact right away. With your career with the Steelheads, and how important is it to, despite, there being maybe a crowded blue line, how important was it to you to come in with the Steelheads and make an impact right away, even being a younger guy?
Yeah, I think for me last year it was for me. I really got close with Sean Day last year, my first year, and I thought he was a guy. He was my age, but he'd already been in the league for 2 years. So yeah, he really took me under his wing, and I became really close with him. And kind of he kind of showed me little ways and kind of stuff that goes on in the league. And I mean, it's I got put into a good situation where I was given lots of opportunity. I was given time on the penalty kill, time on the power play. And, I thought that really helped me. Out there touching the puck, I really got a feel for what it's like at this level. And then this year as well, I mean, obviously I had a pretty good decor on the back end with Villy and Mo and LeBlanc and Osmansky, who was drafted last year to Buffalo. And I think for me, it was just I want to go out there every night and I want to make sure I'm making an impact. I want to be the best defenseman on the ice for both teams. And I think that competitive nature we had in our room, all of us wanted to be the best, really helped push me and help push others, and I think that's why our decor was so strong a lot of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's also going to be situations where, with the NHL draft coming up, there's going to be a lot of people a lot of teams looking for players. Like for example, Charlie McAvoy, who was drafted by the Boston Bruins. Played a significant role for them in the first round of the NHL playoffs. And he's a young guy, and he has a lot of confidence. And you see a lot of players like yourself that play in the OHL and then, play the World Juniors or the U18s. You guys are young guys, but you have so much confidence. Where, I know it's kind of a tough question to ask, but where do you think the confidence stems from? Is there anything specific? Is it just playing with, guys, like you said, like McLeod, that help you? But, where does this confidence come from? I mean, you had also, an opportunity to play in big events, like the Top Prospects game, but I was just wondering, because you definitely see a lot of a movement of a lot of confidence at a young age for a lot of players.
Yeah, I think for me, it's anytime you're playing with the world's best. Like you got Mikey, who's come back and he played the World Juniors, and then comes back to Mississauga. And I think it just when you're playing with the good players, it makes it that much easier, and you can kind of roll, and you know that they're going to be out there, have your back. They're going to do their job, and you're going to do the same for them. So it makes it easy, you don't have to worry about what your teammates are going to do and all that. They're going to be there for you, and you can kind of be in that support role. And it's pretty amazing watching what Mike does with the puck. He does it on a pretty consistent basis, and that's just to name one guy. There's a lot of guys on our team who do that. So, I mean, I think just for me playing with the great players, it makes it that much easier to play, and it helps me be that much better.
Mm-hmm. And talking to Villy and talking to Nathan as well, there was a really tight, close group this year with the Steelheads, and I just wanted to ask you about. It made its rounds on social media, but what was the origin of the NHL '94 celebration with the sticks up in the air? When did that happen? Do you even know when that even started?
Yeah, it was actually it was Trent Fox who started that. So he he's just in the room one day, kind of messing around, and he's coming up with all these kind of crazy celebration ideas that we can do. So it was before the one game in Ottawa, and he said, "Okay, boys, if I score tonight, I'm going to do the stick over the head, kind of Blades of Glory NHL '94 celebration." So we're like, "Okay," and he goes, "You guys got to back me on it, though. I don't want to be the only one." So he ended up scoring that game, and he started doing it, and then I think Nate was the next one to kind of hop in, and then we were like, "All right, this is going to be our thing." And it kind of turned out at the end of the Ottawa series, at the end of the Oshawa series. That's what we ended up doing, going back to our goalie, and I just kind of became a little joke that we had in the room, and it was pretty fun to kind of have our own little thing.
And it made its rounds on social media a little bit. I mean, I think what was pretty cool is the hashtag Fear the Fish was a pretty big hashtag that was used by a lot of Steelheads fans. But just on that topic, because it is a social media centric show, you have guys like Bastian that are pretty funny, pretty quirky on social media. And I see yourself, you're pretty active on social media. I mean, in terms of, following it. But I always ask, like, players and athletes that I have on my show, like, what's your perspective, Nick, on social media? And how do you see it kind of as a role moving forward to your pro career down the road?
Oh, I think it's huge. I think it's definitely important to have social media. It's kind of a way to connect with fans and people around the hockey world, hockey environment. And, I mean, it can be used as a great tool to connect with people and kind of get a message out there. I mean, you see guys tweet something and it gets retweeted here, retweeted there, and then it's suddenly all over the hockey community. And it's a pretty small world, especially with social media. So, I mean, it's definitely think it's an important part of it. And, it's important to you can kind of, it's a great way to get a message out there to a ton of people. All your followers, and I mean, so you want to say anything, support a cause, or just kind of congratulate a teammate or do anything little. I think it's a great tool. You can get your word out there pretty easily.
Do you see yourself? I mean, obviously, social media is a little bit of a double-edged sword as well, because there's, especially from your perspective, any time that you're going to be playing in a big event, there's going to be some people that are going to say positive things, but there is also the negative aspects, and we've seen, the World Junior Team Canada team, ban social media for the whole tournament because they don't want any distractions. But a lot of people do see the positive aspects of it, but it is a distraction as well, and there's going to be situations where you're always going to wonder what's being said on social media. Like, it's kind of hard not to think about it a bit, no?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously the other side of it, and you don't want to get caught up in that stuff. Everyone's going to have an opinion. Everyone's going to say what they want to say, but it's I mean, it's social media. You got to take it for what it's worth, I guess. And I mean, you stay away from the negative stuff, I guess. I think it's extremely useful when you're displaying a positive message or all that good stuff. It's I think social media is great for that, but at the same time, you want to stay away from it. It can be a distraction sometimes, but I mean, I think as athletes and guys who want to be pro athletes, I think it's pretty easy for us for the most part to kind of block out anything that you said the World Junior team. I mean, those guys are the best hockey players in the world for Canada, and they're there for a reason. They know that. So if some guy from wherever is going to be bashing the World Junior team because they're not getting the results, I think it's pretty easy to say, well, I'm on the World Junior team for a reason. Those are obviously all unbelievable hockey players, and they're there for because they're unbelievable hockey players. So I think it's a lot of times pretty easy to kind of block out negative feedback or whatever you want to call it on Twitter or social media.
Yeah, and the thing too is the World Junior Hockey Championship and TSN as well, especially when social media emerged, I think that the World Juniors made everyone more aware of the CHL, the OHL, the QMJHL, the WHL, and players became starting in with the golden goal, not the golden goal, the the goal that tied the game with Jordan Eberle in Ottawa. It's just it was a big impact for junior hockey, and now basically a lot of players want to know what the future holds for their team, and they look at players like yourself and Owen Tippett and Nolan Patrick, Nic Hague that are going to be playing in the OHL now, that playing in the CHL, that are really big players for the NHL Draft, and there's a lot more people that want to do interviews with you at a young age, and like 5-10 years ago, Nick, that might not have been more prominent. But do you see all these like interviews and post-game scrums at a young age? Like, you must like that. I mean, it's nerve-wracking, but it's also preparing you for what's to come.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think especially in the CHL where, in that pro environment all the time, the job, I think, of the Canadian Hockey League is to develop players, and it's not only just a hockey standpoint, but it's the the way of life. Really, you come to the rink every day, you're working out, you're on the ice, you got to get a good meal, you got to do all the right things, and then the media part of it is also huge. I mean, there'll be interviews after games, and I think for the most part, it's obviously not as much as what it's going to be like in pro, but you really try to get prepped for what it's going to be like at that next level, and I think that's why the CHL is so good, that it really helps us get ready for what the next level is going to be like.
And there's so many things that come with kind of being under the microscope as a like a junior player, but as a national, like a pro player as well. Like, for example, like talking to the press, signing autographs, showing up at events. Like it comes with the job, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It is part of our job. I mean, I know in Mississauga, we're always doing community events. We'll go to a school during the day before we go to practice, and we're always kind of doing that stuff to get out in the community and kind of give back, to say, we have our fans in Mississauga who are out there, every night supporting us. So, I mean, as much as we can, we want to get out the community and meet people and kind of get to know people on a personal level. And I mean, for me, that stuff is fun. I mean, I know a lot of our fans kind of on a first name basis now. It's it's cool. Go out. We'll do a Buffalo Wild Wing charity event. You go out there and you get to meet people on the ones serving food and stuff. And a lot of the times, it is part of the job. That's what we have to do, and it's going to be the same at the pro level. So, I mean, if anything, at the bare minimum, it's preparing us for what it's going to be like at the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned, your day-to-day routines, going to the gym, pre-game meals. I was just curious. And a lot of people are like using Instagram. Instagram is huge in the hockey community. I think that's like one thing that a lot of you guys take pride in. Your Instagram accounts, it's huge. And I'm on Instagram a lot as well. Shameless plug. My dog is an Instagram celebrity. He's got 157,000 followers. Yeah, it's not a lie. Billy knows all about it, and he gets so angry when I tell him that, because he's like, this doesn't make any sense to me. But what's your pre-game meal, and what are some of the stuff that you maybe post on Instagram for your fans? Because a lot of people, they like to see that behind the scenes, like what you're eating before a workout, or what you're eating before a game, or for example what song you're listening to. Like what are like, are you a big Instagram user?
Yeah, I think no, I like to use Instagram, but I don't know if I'm that big into it that I'll be posting my pregame meal or anything like that. I haven't done that yet, but I think I like Instagram, so it's a way to connect with my teammates and guys around the league, and I mean it's my Explorer page. It's all hockey, so I mean I get it up there, and it's a good way for me to kind of see what's going on, and same thing for me. My account's obviously open, and anybody can come check out what I'm doing. But I mean, maybe I'll start posting food, I guess, if that's what people want to see. But no, I think it's good to kind of, again, it's a way to connect with your fans. Like, I'll have people DM me and kind of ask what time we're playing or that kind of stuff, and it's I think it's just it's an easy buffer to anyone knows where to find me on social media. They can always message me or talk to me that way. It's kind of how like you got a hold of me too, over social media, right? So yeah. It's I mean, it's good for that kind of stuff. It's good to talk to people around the hockey community. I think that's what it's most important for.
Absolutely. Well, we're gonna wrap up soon, but Nic, NHL Draft. It's a big day. It's been a big year. You've been preparing for this for many years. It's probably been on the calendar for many years. Are you prepared for what kind of a day it's gonna be? I mean, it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, it's. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm very excited for it. It's gonna be a good day for sure. Wherever I happen to go or that, but it's it's something I've been looking forward to for a while now. Kind of since the start of this year, I knew that this was going to be coming up, and during the season, I try not to really think about the end of the year, because I just want to focus on what I'm trying to do. During the year, play my best every night. But now the season's over, so But right now, I just got home a couple days ago, so
Yep.
I'm preparing for the combine now. We got that coming up in a couple weeks, and then I mean, it's going to be fun. I mean, something you dream about as a little kid getting drafted into the NHL. So I'm really looking forward to the day. I'm going to enjoy it with my friends and family, and it's going to be fun.
Great. Well, Nick, we wish you all the best, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
No problem. Yes, this has been Popternative. We wish Nick all the best. You could follow Nick on social media. Where can we follow you? What's your handle?
At Nic Hague 14.
Perfect. So you could hopefully see some pregame meals in the near future on that Instagram.
Instagram's just Nic Hague.
Okay.
Go for it.
That's important.
Yeah.
So, thank you for joining us, Nick. You can catch previous episodes of Popternative on our YouTube page, and you could listen to audio versions on our SoundCloud and our iTunes. You can like us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter. All the best to Nick and all the other prospects that will be hoping to get their names called at the entry draft for the NHL. And until next time, this is Peter Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.